Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week I checked out The Wrath of Becky, and this 2023 film was directed by Matt Angel and Suzanne Coote, and stars Lulu Wilson, Sean William Scott, and Michael Cera, among others of course. The story of this film is about Becky, and she is like a 16-year-old girl who has some issues. She's been living in all these foster homes and runs away from them all and that type of stuff. And she has finally found a house that she likes, and so she's living there. She has a job as a waitress, and one day these like domestic terrorists like come into her place, and she kind of pisses them off, so they follow her home and then do some home invasion. They kill her guardian and take her dog, and now she's out for revenge. So she tracks them down and starts picking them off one by one in, of course, grotesque fashion. What'll happen though? Well, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this film. Well, with this one, it is a sequel, and it's a sequel to a movie called Becky from a few years ago. I have never actually seen it in, true professional amateur hour style here, but I would say you don't need to see it. They have like a 1-minute explanation somewhere in there where you kind of get the idea of what happened in the last one. I think the last one she was fighting neo-Nazis, and this one it's insurrectionists or something like that. And that's all you really need to know. It's her getting revenge after these guys, take her dog and kill her guardian. I would say it's kind of like John Wick and Home Alone kind of had a baby with this one, because she's walking around there with a backpack full of like stuff to, mess with these guys. And the way she does it, tying little strings here or there attached to whatever, all is very reminiscent of Home Alone. But then you have that John Wick side of it where she is going after her dog. She's going out there just for revenge. And it also has that stylistic gore as well that you would expect in, John Wick or something like that. And so it's a really interesting kind of mashup of these two movies, or at least these two feelings that you get when you watch those movies. And so it's one of those ones where it's like kind of an odd movie, but at the same time, a very satisfying movie. You're enjoying it all throughout the whole thing. And there are some kind of situations that are, of course, unrealistic or whatnot, but overall, just a kind of a good, fun revenge film more than anything else. Also, the character of Becky is a lot of fun. You love seeing her go around, make these traps or whatever for the guys to, fall into and get revenge that way. Of course, there is more brutal kills as well. She does a few things. I try not to, spoil it or anything, but she just gets like soaked in blood at some point. And it's just, I don't know, really cool stylistic stuff that way, stylistic violence, which I think a lot of action fans, horror fans will enjoy with this one. The design of Becky, I also enjoyed. She has this like red jumpsuit, and I don't know if this is from the first movie or anything like that, but I like the red jumpsuit look. I think it's pretty cool. It has really cool patches and stuff, and I don't know. I like that flair. I don't know if you can tell. Like I enjoy some flair here and there. And so the look of it all really does kind of, I don't know, just go along with her personality, about how headstrong she is and everything like that. She does have a backpack. I would say that's probably the worst part of her costume, but it is what it is. So overall, Becky is just a fun character to go along with. In addition, I thought the bad guys were pretty good. They are like domestic terrorists or insurrectionists. I think they're supposed to be based off some real life thing that happened in the US. I think it was Michigan, and there was like a plot to kind of kidnap their governor. And it's something kind of similar to that. And they kind of like a cult mentality as well. I don't know. It's all very interesting to see their little group and how it all kind of functions and their hierarchy and how they give each other respect or whatever. I would say it does add certain complexities as the movie goes along too with them. Because at one point I was like, wait a second, are the bad guys like the victims in this one? And Becky's like the killer in the woods, like stalking them and stuff. And I don't know, it's just that little kind of nuance of it all just adds some complexity that is certainly greatly appreciated with this one. Because it's not an overly complex movie or anything, right? The dog is stolen, get some revenge. And that's really it. So having these kind of little facets of nuance, I certainly did enjoy. The cult itself is interesting, and how you get to know all the characters and kind of how they interact and what they're really like. I don't know, it just adds intrigue to this whole movie, so that certainly is good. Furthermore, the shooting in this one is really good. It's all Steadicam, and I read somewhere like the first one has like all kind of more handheld stuff, And so it being very statically shot that way, of course they have, pans and stuff like that. So there is movement in the camera. And I don't know, all of it looks really good. They have great depth of field, great kind of contrast in mind as well when they're filming and all this different type of stuff. So it certainly is something I enjoy seeing in these movies. I like seeing what's happening. It mostly happens during the day too, so you can see it all perfectly well, which is certainly something that's good in this movie. And lastly, I enjoyed all the gore kind of elements of it. There are certain things that I didn't expect to see, and when I did see them, of course it's over the top, but I love that. I love all the gore splatter effects. And like I said, she gets covered head to toe in blood, and it's just such a cool imagery and things like that. So the gore element, there's not too much, to tell you the truth. There's only I think 8 kills or something like that in the whole movie, but all of them are on screen and gory. So certainly, if you like that stuff, then this is going to be a good movie. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, it is predictable. I certainly knew everything that was going to happen before it happened. I even think there's one twist, and I wasn't really surprised at all with it. I kind of expected it. And it's just, a simple revenge, go out there, then there was 5, then 4, then 3, 2, 1 bad guys. And of course, she's taking them all out, right? So it just goes along with that linear kind of storytelling. But that's not what you're there for, right? You're there for the fun of watching her take these guys out. And that certainly is something that you will get from this one. And there are a few other things too. With this movie, we see Becky's imagination. So she imagines how she's going to kill these people in over-the-top fashion now and then. But to tell you the truth, when she does it and then she, stops and says, oh, sorry, that didn't happen. That was just my imagination. This is what really happened. Just show me what really happened. It's like a dream sequence. There's no reason to show it to me other than to show me something cool. I thought all of them were cool, that's for sure. But at the same time, just pointless. So it's something that's in there, something to overlook, but something not to get mad at, right? It is this kind of a silly movie. It does add that cool factor, entertainment factor in there here and there. It feels like it's pulling the rug out from underneath you sometimes. But let's see, anything else? With this one, I think Seann William Scott is a little bit miscast. I can see him, being in the role of some type of insurrectionist or whatnot. But at the same time, I always just see him as Stifler from his, what was it? American Pie? Is that where that one's from? I think so. I just remember that character, and he always has that face. And so it's just, I don't know, a little bit of miscast. There's one time where he's trying to be intimidating. I'm just Stifler, what are you doing? This is going to make someone laugh rather than, scared. And so he does certainly a good job with his scales and whatnot. I would actually say probably all the acting is decent in this one. It just seems like his was the character where I had to imagine the most to believe it. And so, yeah, overall though, not that bad, I would say. As for my recommendation, well, it is just mindless fun. That's for sure. Just watching her go along, get revenge with these things. It's great. Turn your brain off fun, go with the flow, and enjoy. It is very much kind of just consumable media. So if you're looking for something that is just enjoyable, on a fun scale, more than anything else, then you can press play on this one and certainly do that. As for a rating, well, I'll give it the above average score of 6. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.